Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Lucious Showcase. I am Lucious T, and welcome back to the backlog. This week, I'm revisiting a game that I beat back in 2016. Why am I doing that if this is the backlog? Well, let's find out. I streamed my entire playthrough of Xcom 2 back in 2016, and I always refer to it as the game that brought me back to modern gaming. It recaptured everything I loved about the original, but kicked it up a notch. So, when I found out that there was an expansion, War of the Chosen, coming out, I thought to myself, how am I going to justify playing this? Well, I did. And spoilers, I loved every minute of it. Xcom 2 is at its core a turn-based strategy game. Your squad takes a turn and then the enemy. During your turn, each member has 2 actions and multiple other abilities that they can unlock that give them bonus turns and other perks. Firing your weapon generally ends your turn. Now you want to keep your squad in cover positions either half or full because if a unit dies, it is gone forever. This is especially problematic as the longer a unit survives, the more abilities it unlocks. Thankfully, the game autosaves between turns, so you can always go back a turn to avoid a mistake. Or you can even abandon a mission mid-turn, or evac a bleeding out soldier if need be. So what makes War of the Chosen worth playing through this again? Well, besides me needing little reason to play my 2016 Game of the Year again, the game, once again, is amped up. It starts off like the base game, but adds 3 new factions: the Reapers, the Skirmishers, and the Templars. The Reapers are stealth snipers that start missions in overpowered stealth and can walk and shoot their sniper rifles on the same turn. An ability removed from snipers in this game, but was a perk in Xcom 1. They are more valuable in scouting, and paired with a sharpshooter can prove deadly. You can essentially snipe from across the map doing this. Reapers can trigger explosives or use claymores and sticky mines, all while staying in stealth. They don't provide much damage, but their utility make them amazing, and bear in mind, you likely will only have one. I was lucky to recruit a second one through the Covert missions, but I'll get to that later. The Skirmishers were my early favorites. They are a bruiser character mix of the shotgun melee class and the support class. They can pull enemies to them Scorpion style and stun enemies as well as get themselves to higher cover and shoot twice on the same turn. Later you can spec them to grant a teammate a free turn, among other things, though I didn't find some of them all that useful. Last, and my least used, would be the Templars, a psionic soldier mixed with heavy melee. They are a high-risk, high-reward class, much like the Rangers, which in this playthrough I got fairly late in the game after I established my new tactics, so that could be part of the reason why I didn't use them that much. They were fun to use and had some crazy abilities, but the team synergy just wasn't there. Now, the really cool thing about all these new classes were the recycling of old abilities and mechanics cut from Xcom 1, paired with some new ones. This truly made Xcom 2 feel complete and offered a wealth of new strategies to the game. It also allowed bigger casts of soldiers to shine, as you always had more good characters to use than you had squad slots for. Now, when the new classes are promoted, you see War of the Chosen's new ability system. Points are used to unlock abilities rather than an either-or system. Units gain points through leveling, but also by accomplishing tasks in battle or defeating one of the Chosen. There is also a community pool of points generated by the squad, so you can trick out a character if you want. You can even give abilities to your normal XCOM units, so you can get both blast padding and armor shredding, which share the same tier. This basically opens the game completely up. And lastly, the game introduces bonded units, which I'm sure helps psyches, etc. for characters, but it also gives the ability to give the bond mate an extra action once per mission. This alone can turn the tide of a battle. Giving your sniper an extra shot or the grenadier an extra grenade launch in a turn can be the difference between defeat and grape juice. So with all these tools, the game must be a cakewalk, right? Wrong! There are several new enemy types now, as well as negative traits soldiers can acquire in addition to becoming tired. And, of course, the Chosen themselves. New to Xcom 2 are Advent Purifiers, big flamethrower grunts that can explode on death, Spectres, a gaseous enemy that can walk through terrain and knock out units and create fighting holograms, and Advent Priests, who can mind control and stasis people as well as cheat death for one turn and act immediately on their turn. There is even a completely different faction known as the Lost that is hordes of undead zombies mutated by alien tech. They attack both sides indiscriminately, and if you kill one, you are granted a free turn. They are attracted to noise and never take cover, so they rarely pose a dire threat, but you can get overrun. And lastly, we have the three chosen: the Assassin, the Hunter, and the Warlock. Each works alone, and each can show up mid-mission and increase the difficulty immensely. They have much more advanced AI and gain abilities and can affect your base building too. They cannot be killed normally. You have to uncover their base through covert missions and then assault the base and finish them off for good. The Assassin is a close-quarter brute that uses a shotgun and sword. The Hunter has map-wide sharpshooting and can sedate units. And the Warlock is a psionic master who can mind control and summon minions. Each is extremely dangerous and can capture units, extract knowledge, and basically ruin your day. I had to sacrifice a few units to make sure a Chosen went down, and it was totally worth it. And once you defeat them, you gain access to their weapons, which break the game in ways. And like I mentioned, units can pick up negative traits like fear of mechs or sectoids. Usually it comes from surviving a mission where they nearly died, and the fear comes from what damage they took. So if they go on a mission with that enemy, they will have a gut check and resist or fail. My boy Rewind Mike luckily resisted his fear of sectoids every time like a baller and became my first Colonel. Mate! Still bald though. You can later remove these traits in the infirmary. Units can also get tired now, and you can still use them in battle, but if you let them get completely tired out, they become shaken and become unusable for a few days. So where the old game was pushing a boulder up a hill, this game is pushing a boulder up a mudslide, but you have rocket shoes. It's easier to deal with the enemies, but one false move will ruin everything. The intensity is amazing. And I mentioned the covert ops. Essentially, you can send units on missions to accomplish certain tasks, like unlocking faction perks or uncovering chosen bases. The faction perks are great, as if you can have a random grunt spawn on a mission, which freaked me out a few times. Where the hell did they come from? Otherwise, the game plays out normally. Units will miss 90% point-blank shots and piss you off. Units will pull off miracle crits at the right time and save the day, and every mission stands on the tip of a spear. One false move, and you are set back weeks, or more likely, restart and try again. Time for some Lucious metrics. Series fatigue. Greatest hits. This expansion takes a lot of the cut strategies from the first game and introduces new, overwhelming mechanics that make this the definitive XCOM experience. Time sensitivity. All day, any day. I may be biased, but I could play this game any day of the week. Either version is fantastic to play through. I would say the base game is harder than the expansion once you know what to expect. The XCOM is a lot of trial and error, so while War of the Chosen has more ways to kill you, it gives you more solutions to your problems. Controls. Take some getting used to. One of the reasons Firaxis only released XCOM 2 on PC originally was because they said it was not designed for a controller. The controls take some getting used to, taking shots, using abilities, but after a few hours, it becomes second nature. Replay. Oodles! There is so much replay in this game, it's not even funny. Every playthrough is different. You can decide to go after heavy weapons first, or psionic units. Hell, I beat the damn game without even unlocking plasma weapons and heavy armor. Played through it twice between a 2-year span and was not bored once. Storytelling. Serviceable. It's nothing crazy or anything, but it gets the job done. Love the teaser at the end hinting at potentially a Terror from the Deep sequel, and the idea to make XCOM 2 a sequel in which we lost XCOM 1 was an inspired idea. XCOM 2 War of the Chosen does exactly what an expansion should. It introduces a wealth of new features while allowing all the old ones to shine. I can think of no better way of telling you how balanced this game was than by telling you my final mission team composition. I had one sharpshooter, one ranger, one grenadier, one reaper, one skirmisher, and one specialist. Taking all that into account from the perspective of a binge-playing game finisher, I give this my Lucious T recommendation of beat it. And there you have it. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you for joining me. Take a look at this game. If you haven't played any of the Xcoms yet, this may be a hard start to the series, but that's why games like Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle are so good. But still, if you don't get discouraged by losing, play the original, play this one, put it on easy mode, and just see how far you can get. There's no shame in save scumming. I did it a lot myself, and it even makes it easy for you to do, as, like I said, the game saves after every round. Anyways, this was really fun. I'm glad I had a chance to play this expansion, and let me know if you've played any of the XCOMs, if this looks good, and once again, thank you for joining me. It's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.